I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now, but he's got a tough fight coming up.
I think I do have more skills than Mike Tyson, as far as like, I mean, when I say I have more skills than Mike Tyson, guys smarter than, like, at a lower weight class always have more skill. It's no heavyweight ever in life.
You're the boxer, and he's the puncher.
It depends on how I'm feeling that night.
Depends on how you're feeling going into the fight.
GervontaDavis got really upset when he found out that Mike Tyson had joined Lamont Roach's camp for their upcoming rematch. He's tired of people always comparing him to Tyson. Davis said, "I've got power and more skills than Mike Tyson. That's just facts." He feels people don't respect his talent and sees himself as building his own legacy, not just following in Tyson's footsteps. And when Tyson announced he's fighting Jake Paul, Davis was even more frustrated. He called it a bad move, saying it damages Tyson's legacy. In Davis's eyes, real fighters should protect the sport's reputation, not turn it into a show. He wants everyone to know he's on a different level, and it's time people saw that. When Mike Tyson was asked if Gervonta "Tank" Davis reminded him of himself, considering the many comparisons made by fans and analysts, Tyson laughed and said, "I don't know, maybe getting in trouble with the law." He quickly dismissed any connection between their boxing styles, pointing out that while they both had legal issues in their past, their approaches to the sport are very different. Tyson made it clear that despite their personal struggles, their boxing styles are unique. He emphasized that while he has an explosive fighting style, Davis's technique is completely his own. Tyson acknowledged the personal similarities, but insisted that Gervonta Davis is his own fighter with a future of his own. He made it clear that comparisons between the two when it comes to boxing don't make sense. No two fighters are the same.
Davis, a lot of people say he reminds you of them. Does he remind you of yourself?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe just getting in trouble with the law. Other than that, no.
People have started comparing the first fight between Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis to the famous fight between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. There are interesting similarities between these two fights, especially because both situations had a strong favorite fighter facing an opponent who was seen as too small or an underdog. Just like Tyson was known as an unstoppable force in his prime, Tank Davis was widely seen as the bigger and stronger fighter before his first fight with Roach. However, just like Tyson's shocking loss to Buster Douglas, Tank faced unexpected problems in his fight with Roach, which made fans and analysts question his dominance. In the Tyson versus Holyfield fight, Holyfield was considered an underdog, but he managed to frustrate Tyson in ways no one saw coming. He took Tyson's powerful punches and eventually turned the fight in his favor, winning. Similarly, in the Roach versus Tank fight, Roach frustrated Tank, showing more toughness than anyone expected. Roach didn't win, but he made Tank uncomfortable, something that had never happened before. Tank was hit with clean punches but never seemed to hurt Roach, just like Tyson never fully hurt Holyfield.
One guy was a massive favorite, had taken a loss, and was seen to be too small, right? And I'm talking about Evander Holyfield versus Iron Mike Tyson. Iron Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield was a major fight. A major fight. But Iron Mike Tyson was viewed as a destroyer. Okay? He was the baddest man on the planet. He was indestructible. The fact that he lost to James Buster Douglas was an anomaly because Mike Tyson wasn't focused and
Both fights show the mental and physical toughness of the underdogs. Just like Holyfield's win over Tyson, Roach's performance against Tank has made people question what these fighters are really capable of when they face tough challenges. The similarities between these two legendary fights make the rematch even more exciting, as fans wonder if history will repeat itself.
But he frustrated Tank Davis, and we never seen Tank Davis look like that in the fight. He hit him with a shoulder bar. He tried to bite him at one point in time in the 6th round. He took a ill-advised knee and didn't get counted in the 9th round, right? A lot of things took place. He never truly hurt Lamont Roach, hit him with good, clean punches, but never got hurt. Lamont Roach ate the punches, similar to...
When Showbiz the Adult said that Lamont Roach knows the technique to beat Tank Davis, he was talking about a special insight into how to take away Tank's strengths in the ring. Showbiz believes Roach understands Tank's fighting style better than most, and that could be the key to beating the powerful and hard-to-catch fighter. He pointed out that Tank is great at controlling distance, which is one of his biggest advantages. Tank stays just out of his opponent's reach, using footwork and timing to land powerful punches while staying safe. The comparison to Mike Tyson is important here because Tyson, like Tank, was known for his knockout power. But Tyson's power worked best at mid-range. When opponents got too close to him, he had trouble landing his big punches. Showbiz the Adult says Tank shares this weakness. If an opponent can close the distance and avoid Tank's reach, it could stop him from landing his usual devastating punches. Showbiz suggests that Lamont Roach has figured out this weakness in Tank's game, his need for distance, and has come up with strategies to take advantage of it. By closing the gap and avoiding Tank's longer punches, Roach might be able to take away Tank's power and force him into a more difficult situation. Just like Tyson had to adjust when opponents got too close, Roach could use this knowledge to beat Tank. Showbiz believes Roach is the only one who truly knows this technique in detail, and it could be the key to defeating one of boxing's biggest stars.
Go get you if you're running away, because Tank is very good at knowing the distance where he has most leverage on his punches. If you think about Mike Tyson is strange to say, but he wasn't great with his power when he was very close on the inside. Mike Tyson was a mid-range puncher. That's why Mike Tyson could go in from a distance and step in and knock you out. But when y'all close, Mike Tyson didn't really have all his power in there. Neither does Tank. So if you're backing up, Tank can go get you. Other than that, Tank has to counter you. That's how Tank knocked out Rody. That's how Tank knocked out Ryan Garcia. That's how Tank hurt Mario Barrios and started that shit, that snowball. That's how Tank knocked out Leo Santa Cruz. That's why Tank talked so much.
GervontaDavis has made some bold statements in recent interviews, saying that while Mike Tyson has both power and skills, he himself has the complete package in boxing. Davis believes his combination of punching power and boxing intelligence is better than Tyson's. He claims that his understanding of the sport and his ability to adapt inside the ring make him a more complete fighter. With these comments, Gervonta seems to be saying that he's not just a strong puncher, but also a strategist, someone who can read the ring and control the fight better than Tyson did in his prime. However, Davis's words raise questions about what exactly he's trying to prove. Mike Tyson is widely seen as one of the most powerful and skilled boxers ever. His speed, power, and ferocity changed the heavyweight division. Tyson's legacy was built on his dominance in the late 1980s and his ability to scare opponents before they even stepped into the ring. For someone like Davis, who's still in the prime of his career, to say he's better than Tyson in boxing IQ and skill is a bold challenge, and some may see it as controversial. By downplaying Tyson's accomplishments and focusing on his own abilities, Davis might be trying to raise his own status among boxing fans. He may want to stop the comparisons to Tyson and create his own legacy as a fighter who can do it all. But this also risks coming off as disrespectful to a man who has already secured his place as a true boxing legend.
Yeah, but I can knock you out like...
So you saying that you can knock him out faster than Mike Tyson, probably, if it was a challenge?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, Mike Tyson got power and skills. I feel as though like I have like the whole package. Like I have Mike Tyson don't have, like, you know? I think so.
So, what's your message to Brandon?
Who?
Brandon.
What Brandon?
I don't know. Brandon is the nigga that whooped my ass. If you could say something to him real quick.
When we catch you, Brandon, we gonna get up with you.
There's been a lot of talk lately about the similarities between Mike Tyson and GervontaDavis, with many people comparing the two. But now, with Tyson reportedly helping Lamont Roach in his camp for the big rematch with Tank, this could give Roach a huge advantage. Tyson's experience and knowledge of the ring could help Roach come up with strategies to counter Tank's strengths. Tyson's legendary status in boxing makes his help in Roach's camp a big deal, possibly giving Roach the edge he needs for the rematch. According to Showbiz, the adult, Tank might be playing mind games with Roach, trying to confuse him before the fight. Tank's confidence and psychological tactics are well known, and this could be an attempt to unsettle Roach before the rematch even happens. Showbiz thinks Tank is trying to get inside Roach's head, creating doubt and uncertainty about the upcoming fight. This mental game could be just as important as physical training, as Tank looks to gain every possible advantage before stepping into the ring with Lamont Roach for what's sure to be an intense rematch.
Roach has never been this big of a fighter before. Everyone knows Lamont Roach now. So he could be reaping the benefits of just enjoying his status of having that draw with Tank, while Tank is the one with the eye of the tiger. Tank is probably in the gym training his ass off, and then sign the contract like, all right, we got to fight when? June. Oh, shit! Let's hurry up and dash your ass. Sugar Ray Leonard did that to Roberto Duran. Duran was told that he had a fight in a couple weeks, and he was like, dude, I'm 190 pounds in Panama, which is why Roberto Duran was out of shape in the No Mas fight and was like, no mas. So Tank could be over there working, sign the contract in 3 weeks, and all of a sudden Lamont Roach got to put a...
Lamont Roach has shown that he's a strong opponent with the ability to challenge Tank Davis. In their previous fight, Roach pushed Tank to his limits, even forcing him to take a knee at one point. This moment proved that Roach can make Tank uncomfortable and mess with. His rhythm showing that Roach has the skills to compete at the highest level. However, boxing is also a business. Even though Roach has the potential to challenge Tank, the sport is often shaped by promotions, opportunities, and matchups. While Roach has the ability to cause problems for Tank, the business side of boxing decides who gets to fight for titles and big money. Roach's strong performance in their first fight earned him respect, but it's the politics of the sport that often decides who gets the next chance, no matter how much potential a fighter has.
Definitely earned my respect tonight. Definitely one of the first fighters to put Tank to the test, just matching fire with fire. That was a good fight. For me, I need to see a rematch ASAP. But yeah, Tank definitely took the knee, 100%. I see Roach winning that 7-5 personally, but boxing is business, so they were never going to let him have that win. Roach's timing was on point though. No easy knockouts tonight. Sharp counters, like. Very good fighter, very good fighter. Let me know what you guys...
Abel Sanchez, a well-known boxing trainer, has shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. While many people think Tank will dominate in the rematch, Sanchez believes that the first fight was just a case of Tank having a bad night. He thinks Tank's performance wasn't up to his usual standards and that the rematch will be a different story. Sanchez is confident that Tank will come into the ring more prepared and focused this time, making it easier for him to win. Sanchez's comments reflect his belief that Tank's talent and skill are much better than Roach's. He thinks any struggles in the first fight were more about Tank not being focused, rather than Roach being a better fighter. Sanchez believes Tank has the tools to avoid making the same mistakes and to handle Roach easily in the rematch. While Roach has shown that he can push Tank to his limits, Sanchez feels that Tank will fix any mistakes and show why he's one of the top fighters in the division. This view gives fans an idea of what Sanchez expects from Tank in the second fight, with the expectation of a more clear victory.
A tough fight in the next fight, but I still see Gervonta winning. I think Gervonta will win in a little easier this time. But Roach is a heck of a fighter. He's going to give everybody a hard, anybody that fights is going to give a hard time. But I do think that Davis had an off night.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn and he said he wanted to make the Shakur-Tank fight straight away. Obviously now Tank's going into the rematch. That won't happen yet, but when it does happen, Eddie's still adamant that could happen this year or straight after the Roach fight. How do you see that fight playing out?
Between who?
Shakur and Tank.
I still think Tank is the elite in the division. It's a difficult fight also, but I don't think Shakur will be as difficult as...
Mikey Garcia shared his belief that GervontaDavis will win the rematch against Lamont Roach, mainly because Tank will make the right adjustments to his strategy. Garcia pointed out that in their first fight, Tank didn't fight his best and gave away too many rounds. He believes Tank will come into the rematch more active and focused, making it easier for him to win. Garcia is confident that Tank will learn from the first fight and be more disciplined in the second, avoiding the mistakes that allowed Roach to take some rounds. However, Garcia also gave credit to Roach for his performance, saying Roach exceeded expectations. He even felt Roach was robbed of a victory, especially because a knockdown in the first fight wasn't counted. Garcia believes that the controversy surrounding the first fight, especially the disputed knockdown, could work in Roach's favor by adding more excitement to their rivalry. This could lead to a potential trilogy where the fighters meet again, giving Roach more opportunities than he might have had at first. Garcia's comments suggest that while Tank is favored to win the rematch, Roach's performance in the first fight shouldn't be ignored. The controversy and how close the first fight was could keep the door open for more exciting matchups between them, possibly turning their story into a long-lasting rivalry in boxing.
Tank wins in the rematch. Why? I think he'll make the right adjustments, and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody. Right. I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown. Right. But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows? Maybe
it turns the markets back out.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.